Hey y'all, Eric here with another LGBT history moment for you. Uh, and this is being recorded on Sunday on the 5th, but trying to stay ahead. But that's why I've got my red on supporting my Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, even though I no longer live in Kansas City and I'm back in Charlotte, North Carolina, two things can be true at once. I still support my Kansas City Chiefs, and I also am back to supporting my Carolina Panthers. The Panthers actually won today by beating Miami, the Dolphins, 27-24 in a very, very cool comeback win. But of note, the Philadelphia Eagles actually lost today to, of all teams, the Broncos. No shade, man, if you're listening to this video. So anyway, let's dive in today. The spotlight today is on Harvey Milk. And most people around my age, and even some of the younger ones, may know about Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk was previously in the news over the summer due to his service in the Navy regarding a naval ship name being changed. And I'll get into that in a minute. But let's bring up Harvey's pictures. And I have two for you. The top one was when he was running for assemblyman. I believe that they were called assemblyman, or it's a San Francisco Assembly, and he was an alderman, one of them, before he actually ran and became mayor. And the bottom one was in tribute, a picture I found in tribute to his service in the Navy. And yes, Harvey was part of the United States Naval Service. So while you gaze upon Harvey, let me just give you some background information on him. Harvey Milk was a visionary civil and human rights leader who became one of the first openly gay elected officials in the United States when he won a seat on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in 1977. So not an assemblyman or an alderman, but a Board of Supervisors. Milk's unprecedented, loud, and unapologetic proclamation of his authenticity as an openly gay candidate for public office and his subsequent election gave never before experienced hope to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered, or LGBT people everywhere at a time when the community was encountering widespread hostility and discrimination. His remarkable career was tragically cut short when he was assassinated a year after taking office. Harvey was actually murdered by another board supervisor. He was born in 1930 in Woodmere, New York, and he and his one sibling, Robert, worked in the family's department store called Milk's. His Lithuanian-born father, William, served in the U.S. Navy, as did his spirited, independent mother, Minerva, also of Lithuanian heritage, who was a yeomanette during World War I. Harvey came from a small middle-class Jewish family that had founded a Jewish synagogue and was well known in the New York Litvsk community for their civic engagement. He knew he was gay by the time he attended Bayshore High School, where he was a popular student with wide-ranging interests from opera to playing football. While in college at New York State College for Teachers, now State University of New York in Albany, where he studied math and history, Milk penned a popular weekly student newspaper column where he began questioning issues of diversity with a reflection on the lessons learned from the recently ended World War. He graduated in 1951 and enlisted in the Navy. He attended officer candidate school in Newport, Rhode Island, and subsequently was based in San Diego, where he served as a diving instructor. In 1955, he resigned at the rank of lieutenant junior grade after being officially questioned about his sexual orientation. Following his time in the Navy, Milk entered the civilian working world in New York as a public school teacher on Long Island. as a stock analyst in New York City and as a production associate in Broadway musicals such as Jesus Christ Superstar and Hair. During the 1960s and early 70s, he became more actively involved in politics and advocacy, and he demonstrated against the Vietnam War. In 1972, Milk moved to San Francisco, where he opened a camera store on Castro Street in the heart of the city's growing LGBTQ community. It quickly became a neighborhood center. Milk's sense of humor and theatricality made him a popular figure. Little more than a year after his arrival in the city, he declared his candidacy for the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. He lost that race, but emerged from the campaign as a force to be reckoned with in local politics. After some area merchants tried to prevent two gay men from opening a store, Milk and a few other business owners founded the Castro Village Association, a first in the nation organizing a predominantly LGBT businesses, with Milk as the president. He organized the Castro Street Fair in 1974 to attract more customers to area businesses. Its success made the Castro Village Association an effective power base for gay merchants and a blueprint for other LGBT communities in the U.S. In 1975, he ran again for the combined San Francisco City County Supervisor seat and narrowly lost. By now, he was established as the leading political spokesman for the Castro's vibrant gay community. His close friend and ally, Mayor George Moscone, appointed him to the city's Board of Permit Appeals, making Milk the first openly gay city commissioner in the United States. Milk soon filed candidacy papers for the state assembly, but lost his race to represent the 16th Assembly District, realizing that he would have a greater chance of political success if he relied on voters in the Castro. He then worked with his campaign manager, Ann Cronenberg, and Mayor Moscone for the passage of an amendment that would replace at-large elections. Excuse me. Sorry, having a little dry throat issue here. That would replace at-large elections for the Board of Supervisors with district elections. In 1977, he easily won his third bid and was inaugurated as a San Francisco City County Supervisor on January 9, 1978. This was an important and symbolic victory for the LGBT community as well as a personal triumph for Milk. His election made national and international headlines. A commitment to serving a broad constituency, not just the LGBT people, helped make Milk an effective and popular supervisor. His ambitious reform agenda included protecting gay rights. He sponsored an important anti-discrimination bill, as well as establishing daycare centers for working mothers, the conversion of military facilities in the city to low-cost housing, reform of the tax code to attract industry to deserted warehouses and factories, and other issues. He was a powerful advocate for strong, safe neighborhoods and pressured the mayor's administration to improve services for the Castro, such as library services and community policing. In addition, he spoke out on state and national issues of interest to LGBT people, women, racial and ethnic minorities, and other marginalized communities. One of these was a California ballot initiative named Proposition 6, which would have mandated the firing of gay teachers in the state's public schools. State Senator John Briggs, seeking to marshal anti-gay sentiment and an agenda of hate and diminishment for political gain, spearheaded the initiative. You may know Proposition 6, sometimes called the Briggs Initiative. With strong effective opposition from Milk and others, it was defeated at a time when other political attacks on gay people were being successfully waged around the U.S. Attendance swelled at gay pride marches in San Francisco and Los Angeles as Milk and others campaigned against the Briggs Initiative. In one of his eloquent speeches, Milk spoke to the American ideal of equality, proclaiming that gay people We will not win our rights by staying quietly in our closets. We are coming to fight the lies, the myths, the distortions. We are coming out to tell the truth about gays, for I am tired of the conspiracy of silence, so I'm going to talk about it, and I want you to talk about it. You must come out. On November 27, 1978, a disgruntled former supervisor assassinated Milk and Mayor George Moscone. Dan White sneaked into the city hall through a basement window, avoiding the metal detectors at the official entrances, went to Moscone's office, killed him, then walked down the hall to kill Milk. That night, a crowd of thousands spontaneously gathered together on Castro Street and marched to City Hall in a silent candlelight vigil that has been recognized as one of the most eloquent responses to violence that a community has ever expressed. Given the hatred directed at gay people in general and Milk in particular, he received daily death threats. He was aware of the likelihood that he may well be assassinated. He recorded several versions of his will to be read in the event of his assassination. One of his tapes contained the now famous statement, if a bullet should enter my brain, let that bullet destroy every closet door. His nephew, Stuart Milk, a teenager at the time, and close with his uncle, came out along with countless others across the nation on the day his uncle was killed. Shortly after Milk's death, people marching for gay rights in Washington, D.C., chanted, Harvey Milk lives. There is more information about Harvey on the milkfoundation.org, which I will link in the description of the vehicle of this video. But I want to go back to the picture below here, showing him in his naval uniform. And so earlier this year, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth decided to go in, and part of the erasure of most things that were not white, straight, and male from the annals of history, decided to rename the USS Harvey Milk to a different name. The person who then got the honor of having that naval ship named after them had already previously had a ship named after them, and that ship was decommissioned and destroyed. The only reason that Pete Hegseth did this is to attempt to erase our part as LGBT people, particularly gay men, our part in U.S. military history, particularly the Navy. But I say this to you. We will not be erased. No matter what they did to the Stonewall in the museum about removing transgendered references, starting the removal of lesbian and gay people and transgendered people from the military, we will not be erased and we will not be silenced. No matter what directives come out of the Department of Justice or from the so-called War Defense, the War Department. There hasn't been a War Department since the 1800s, and it was changed because we were no longer in a proactive war stance. We were in a defensive stance, and that's why that department was changed from the War Department to the Defense Department. But another thing that I found today that I'll bring up, Harvey also has a street named after him. And I'll bring this up so you can see it. So a Utah lawmaker has created a bill to rename a street honoring Harvey Milk to pay tribute to Charlie Kirk, who made national news a couple of weeks ago because he was assassinated, heinously assassinated. So again, trying to erase the gay man for someone who made it his mission to go around and debate people on college campuses and try to disavow anyone who was not white, straight, and male. Call Turning Point USA what you want, but that was Turning Point's mission. Charlie Kirk could say that he was a Christian all day long, but that is not the kind of life that he led. I didn't know him personally. I only know what I saw on the videos, and I only know what I saw through his recorded podcast and the videos of those debates. And so the representative's name, let me get rid of this video. The representative's name, this is on the Advocate's website. I'll link that in the description of the video as well. A Republican lawmaker in Utah wants to rename a street memorializing a slain LGBTQ legend to honor a more recently assassinated right-wing figure. And that's exactly how it should be stated. Charlie Kirk is no national hero. He might be a MAGA hero, but he is no national hero. Utah Representative Trevor Lee told a local Nexstar station that he intends to file a bill that would rename Harvey Milk Boulevard in Salt Lake City and instead recognize Charlie Kirk. For the vast majority of Utahns, they would say that Harvey Milk does not have any connection to Utah whatsoever, Lee said, but Charlie Kirk does now, especially after being assassinated in the state of Utah. And then it goes on to talk about Kirk's being the founder of Turning Point USA. He was shot and killed when he was speaking at Utah Valley University. Then it goes on to talk some more about Milk being an early leader in the LGBT rights movement, and then his subsequent death of being assassinated in his office when he was running for mayor. And he said, if a bullet, and I'll repeat the quote that I read from his foundation website, if a bullet should enter my brain, let that bullet destroy every closet door in the country. And so today we salute Harvey Milk. And maybe some people might think that I'm weaponizing Harvey Milk because of what Secretary Hegseth has done to him. And now we have another Republican that's doing the same thing, the advocate is not calling or assigning MAGA to him, but I will, because he's drawing a straight line to have the spotlight put on him because he's honoring Charlie Kirk, which is his right to do. But again, trying to erase our history, not going to happen. No matter what the Utah legislature does with this, whether they pass it or not, Harvey Milk's legacy will never be erased. So long as we tell our own stories, those stories will never be lost. Thank you for viewing. Like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you on the next LGBT History Moment.